Let's get started. Hello all, and welcome to the SitRep Podcast presents Progress in Our Hobby, presented by me, Walkabout Games. Okay, so I've had a lot of requests and a lot of questions about how I do my camo net on my vehicles. Like, this technique can be also used on buildings like a bunker if you want to put a camo net on the top. It can also be used for larger scale modeling. I would say this gauze that I use can be used up to 10 mil to 32 mil and it'll look correct. So with that, I use gauze, medical gauze. Okay, this one's a very tight weave. Okay, probably get tighter, but this is what I use. Okay, and how I go about doing the camo net is pretty simple. The first thing I do is I grab the gauze and I grab PVA glue. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll put a thin line down the gauze. Okay, and then what I will do is I'll fold it over and I'll squish the PVA through and make sure it's thoroughly mixed in. And then sometimes I'll even do it one more time and fold it over with more glue. Okay, at that point I cut the strip off. Okay, and then I cut it into thin strips, approximately about that wide. Now you're going to notice that there's some color on this. Well, when I'm painting, I will take my brush, and when I'm cleaning it off, I'll wet it, and I'll still have a little bit of paint in, and I'll wipe it off onto this. Why I do that is just the paint hardens and it makes it a little bit more stiff but still pliable. Okay, I find that the glue does an okay job, but a little bit of paint adds to it and it's not going to hurt anything. Okay, once I get to this stage, I'll grab my model and I will cut it and I will drape over certain sections of the vehicle till I find where I want it. Okay, now I've taken another one of the Elvis Stalwart trucks. That's what these are. I use them for supply trucks from the British Army of the Rhine. And you'll notice this one I've painted the green and stuff on and the detail. Well, I wouldn't do this normally, but I wanted to leave the gauze white and paint part of the vehicle so you could see it better. Okay, so what I do is I take CA glue or gel CA glue, something like that. Never use the thin CA glue. It's just too liquidy, it flows everywhere, makes a mess, and this stuff will stick to your fingers really easily. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll find out where I want something. Let's say this top right here. I'll look how it spreads out the gauze. Okay, and then I will put a little dot of glue, probably about the center point here, and I will move it around with an old paintbrush or a toothpick or something like that. And then I will look where it's going to hang over the side. I put a little bit there, move it there, and then I lay the gauze on and I push it down and work it into the glue. And I will do that the same as on the side or where it's draping over the top and then down the back. Okay, I will let it dry really well, and then at that point I will spray paint the entire vehicle or the terrain piece that's got the camo netting on it all black, and making sure to get the gauze really well so that it flows in there. Okay, now at that point I'll switch to a different truck for our example. Okay, same thing. I painted it green, left the primer black on the netting just so you guys can see it better. Okay, at this stage what I do is I'll take my first primary color for the netting. There's 3 colors for this camouflage netting that I'm using. Every camo netting is different depending on what country or whatever you're in. Okay, look at reference pictures. At the beginning of this video, I have put in pictures of different camo nettings that I have based my camouflage netting on. Okay, it's fairly dark with some kind of khaki strips and green strips and stuff like that in it. Okay, so the first color I will use and water it down just a little bit will be Vallejo Surface Primer UK Bronze Green. And I will paint that over the black, still letting some of the black show through. Let it dry, and then I will take a Citadel color, Games Workshop color, Death Guard Green. Okay, you can use it. There's Vallejo equivalents to a lot of these Citadel colors. I use this one because it's handy, and I will dry brush over top of the netting, still letting the bronze green show through, but covering a little bit. Okay, now once that is dry, I go in. I will pull this model over, and you will notice that it looks like there's strings or pieces of fabric. There's lines and stuff like that. I will take Xandri dust and pick out some of those lines in the camo net. Okay, and I will hit it with Xandri dust. Like, again, you can find Vallejo or other equivalents in other paint ranges. Okay, and it also depends on what kind of camouflage net you're looking for. Okay, and I will pick out those lines. I will then finish painting the entire vehicle, all the details and stuff like that, and put a little bit of browns and stuff for dirt and stuff like that, and then I will give it a coat of Agrax or shade for the whole model, and it does pick out more than netting. Okay, now at that stage I'm calling it done. It's very quick, very easy. The technique, you know, I like using the KISS method. You know, keep it simple, stupid. That was really easy, and I kept it simple, but it looks good. And the idea behind some of the videos I'll be doing is to get our models on the table, getting projects done that have been just sitting for years, and getting them on the table as well. Okay, so that is the end of this video. Oh, wait a minute, I almost forgot something. I had promised one person that I would explain how to do this technique with 1/48th and 1/35th scale models. Okay, let's just put this down and bring our gauze over again. Okay, there's different kinds of gauzes. Some have larger weaves in them. That's what I would use for 1/48th scale, 1/35th scale models. It's the same basic technique, just on a larger scale. Another way of doing it, we did it as kids. Well, here I did it as a kid. Was using onion netting from your fresh onions that you get at the grocery store. Some of that mesh netting is fairly fine, and it works well for 1/35th scale models. What I used to do with as a kid was I used to take paste, make a paste up, a sticky gluey paste, and take strips of paper and just soak it, and then take those strips and put them in and weave them into the netting, and then I would drape it over whatever model I was going to do before. And then my parents used to prime my models for me because I started doing models really young, and they wouldn't let me use the spray paint by myself. But they would come along once that's on there, and I would set it on there. The paste would help stick it to the model. I'd put a little bit of glue in there sometimes, but after it primed, I just did the same technique that I'm doing here. You know, keep it simple. Just use a few colors, dry brushing, you know, wash, and that looks really good. Okay, guys, there'll be more videos coming your way. So please ring the bell below, subscribe. You can find me here on SitRep Podcast, and you can also find me on Walkabout Games with a Z. And yes, I'm saying Z. I'm Canadian. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitch, and you can find us on Discord as well. So thanks guys, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks.